What's up, everybody, and welcome to SLC Puck! I'm your host, Austin Facer. Yes, I am also what some people consider like a Batman figure for the hockey scene here in Utah. I am the Cape Crusader, except my cape is a high-res vest and hockey equipment. Remember that scene in Batman where he's like, "What's the difference between you and me?" And Batman's like, "I'm not wearing hockey pads." Well, here's the thing. I am wearing hockey pads. I'm the hockey crossing guard. And I was helping fans of the Utah Hockey Club and fans of the visiting Montreal Canadiens get to the game the other night. A game which the Utah Hockey Club did not play very well in. Let's just put it that way. We'll talk more about what I mean in just a minute. If you missed it, you're just probably not on hockey Twitter, which, you should get on. I made a fun little video with the help of my team here at SLC Puck Studios that kind of has been doing some numbers here on social media, so we'll revisit that in just a second. But lots of fun happening in the SLC Puck universe this week. Some games, some goofs, some laughs, some great content for you guys, and more on the way. If you guys can't get enough of me, I have good news for you. I'm going to be all over the place this weekend. Thursday, the game against the Rangers. That's a good game. A couple of Original Six teams coming to town, I believe. The Rangers, one of them, is a Nashcast night on SEG Plus, Utah HC Plus. I was just talking to my very best friend in the entire world, Tyson Nash, on the phone. We're excited. We have a lot of really great guests for you for the Nashcast on Thursday. And if that's not enough, if one Nashcast isn't enough, great news. We're going to have two. There's going to be another one on Saturday for the Blues game. That one might be even better. I'm really excited about the guests we have for those. But you should get SEG Plus right now. You should go sign up. The bandwidth on their servers are going to be crashing as soon as they see what we're up to on Thursday night. So I recommend getting in now as soon as you can. It's going to be a lot of fun. By the way, what do you guys think of my outfit tonight? If you can tell me who on the Utah Hockey Club this is inspired by, you win a cookie. I'm kidding, of course. If you're just listening to this on Apple or Spotify, you're missing the benefit of the visual. But on YouTube, you'll see what I mean, and you should see the show on YouTube anyway. I think it's might be a little bit more advantageous to get more subscribers on YouTube. So please like, comment, subscribe. Let's get back into the action. Last night, again, I'm recording this on Wednesday, January 15th. Last night, the Utah Hockey Club defeated by the Montreal Canadiens, a game which the Utah Hockey Club did not play very well in at all, to say the least. And I think maybe there's not too much more that needs to be said about that. I mean, the offense is definitely struggling. It feels like they're really suffering the effects of Dylan Guenther's absence in a big way. I think you do see still a lot of hustle, a lot of grit. When I say that, I think of guys like Josh Doan, who scored a goal last night. Nick Bjugstad did as well. Those are very, very high motor guys on the Utah Hockey Club who found the back of the net. But other than that, the Utah Hockey Club has kind of gone dry in a little bit. A little bit of a big way, I guess you could say. Over their last 10 games, they're 2-7-1. Of course, they've been dealing with a slew of injuries all season, but this was such a disappointing little circumstance that we find ourselves mired in right now. We were just talking. We've talked so much when we're watching this team about all the injuries they've suffered. Sean Dursey, John Marino, Maverick Lamrow. I mean, there's been a lot on the defensive side. Connor Ingram's been missing a lot of time as well. So again, it felt like things were finally starting to get back together. I know Dursey's getting close. I've heard that from people in the organization. We saw John Marino make his debut for the Utah Hockey Club as well. I'll talk about him a little bit more in just a moment. But it's just such a shame that Dylan Guenther has been injured. That he had a collision in the Florida Panthers game. He's been out since then. So they've now missed 3 games without Guenther, and in all 3 of those games, the scoring has suffered big time. They did get a 2-1 win over the Sharks without Guenther, a 2-1 loss to the Islanders, which is kind of a mirror image of that Sharks game, and then a 5-3 loss to the Canadiens last night, which was great news for the Canadiens fans. And the Canadiens, being one of the more prestigious teams in the sport, I think you could argue they maybe are the marquee team in the National Hockey League. They've won more Stanley Cups than any other team. They've won more Stanley Cups than any other team has won championships in any other sport. So fair to say, the Canadian, you want to be in good with the Canadian fans. You want to earn their respect. If you're the new kid on the block, the Canadians are the big bad, cool, jock, gets the girlfriend, shoves kids in lockers, so to speak. But it's really a team you want to feel like has the respect of the Utah hockey world. But we got off to a bad start, didn't we, on Tuesday? I believe it was reported by Frank Saravelli, and I'm going to talk more about Frank in just a minute. Let's see, it's all going to connect here. But it was reported that one of the players, excuse me, one of their players was, I got this right in the video, Emil Heineman was struck by a vehicle and injured the day before the game. I believe it came out that he maybe had like a wrist injury, so broken wrist. Not great, obviously. I'm going to play some audio here for you guys here in a second. And, that was kind of the big story before the game. And I think, there were some comments like, oh, geez, we just can't help ourselves here. Is that how badly we want to win here in Utah? That's not the track we're going to go down this path. We're not going to make light of, a pedestrian incident. We talk so much about our good friend, Steve Klauke, who unfortunately passed away this summer due to an auto pedestrian accident. But still, I felt a responsibility as one of the leading figures in the Utah hockey community to let Canadiens fans know that they were appreciated and loved. We valued being a part of their league, a part of being, associated with them in the National Hockey League. So I took it upon myself, like I said, to be the Batman, so to speak, of the Utah hockey community. And I went down to the game on Wednesday and served as a crossing guard to ensure that none of the Canadiens fans who were, looking to attend the team's first ever appearance in Salt Lake City would be harmed in any way getting across the street. That road on 3rd West is a little bit tricky sometimes. So if you missed it on Twitter, here it is for you. This is what I did. Again, it's all on all my social medias too. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, which might be going away this weekend, I think. But anyway, it's all there. But we'll just play a little bit for you guys just so you guys can get a little taste of what I mean. This was the hockey crossing guard. Hey guys, it was reported that Montreal Canadiens forward Emil Heineman was hit by a car here in Salt Lake the other day. He laughed it off as a joke with his teammates, but it's really not that funny to me. So I'm here, I'm enlisted as the hockey crossing guard, and I'm going to make sure everybody gets to the game tonight safely, especially Canadiens fans. Hey, don't worry, guys. I got you. Make sure everybody gets the game safe. Don't worry about it.
Now? Okay. Thanks.
Everybody. Okay, guys, come on.
Thank you.
We got you. Come on. Sir, I got you. We can't have any more injuries here. Thanks. No worries. All right. Salt Lake, really dangerous town, man. Yeah, really dangerous. Yep. Just want to make sure you get across the street safely. All right. Hey, have a great night. You bet. Okay, there you go. You're not. Yep. Safely. Oh, yeah. By the way, if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, you're missing out, so head over to YouTube. This will make a lot more sense to you there.
Thank you, buddy.
You got it. A lot of crazy drivers out there. That hug meant a lot, by the way. That was a great moment.
Just doing my part.
So there you go. Yeah, just having a little bit of fun outside of the Delta Center before the game, which was not very fun for the Utah Hockey Club. But it was pretty fun to put that together. Just an idea we had kind of at the last minute there. So I told my production assistant, who is also my sister, to grab a high res vest and meet me at the Delta Center to go down and shoot a little video and have some fun. So what the coolest part of it is, I put this on. The coolest part of it is I put this on Twitter, and I tagged Canadiens and the Utah Hockey Club. And it feels like I've gotten more response from Canadiens fans than anybody else. I think they just found it very funny and charming, which was the goal. So anyway, to all my new fans up there in Canada, up there in the Montreal area, I don't know how to say thank you in French, but thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having some fun with me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, wherever you find that video. So that was a lot of fun. We'll have more fun and quirky stuff for you as we go. And it just kind of makes me think, right? So just getting back to that story, like this and again, I kind of breezed past the story really fast, but let's just revisit it here. So Emil Heineman was hit by a driver in downtown Salt Lake City on Monday, according to police. The Canadiens announced he'll miss 3 to 4 weeks with an upper body injury due to the incident. Driver struck Heineman, who was in the crosswalk while making a right turn on a 500 south from 200 east, according to the Utah Highway Patrol. The driver went across multiple lanes as he turned and hit the player. Heineman and the driver exchanged information and left the scene. A police report was filed later. And this is kind of funny here. The Utah Highway Patrol is investigating the incident due to the driver being a city employee. The mayor's office told KSL.com it doesn't comment on open investigations. All right, so I'm sure that guy got a little bit of ribbing in the office when he headed back. But again, I want to revisit the scene of not the crime, but the scene of the incident here, right? So I'm looking at a map of downtown Salt Lake City right now, and I zoomed in on this intersection. So we can see here, it was right in this area at Washington Square Park where the city-county building is. I'm guessing maybe what happened was the Montreal Canadiens are probably staying at the Grand America right here on Main Street between 5th and 6th South. And I'm guessing, Heineman and maybe a few others rolled out of the hotel, took a right up 5th South. And I really don't know why. If you live in Salt Lake, you can understand why this is like a little confusing, because heading in the direction of the Salt Lake City Public Library is not anything I would do with my free time at 2:00 in the afternoon on my day off. There are just a slew of better things to do in Salt Lake City. So I would like to go out on a limb and just suggest some better activities for future NHL teams visiting the Salt Lake City area. I'll just say this. There's no reason to go to the Salt Lake City Library unless you enjoy the smell of urine, and I'm guessing you don't. But, what's at the Leonardo right now? Let's see. Do they have any interesting exhibits? They have exhibits on artificial intelligence, whatever, flight, Winter City. I'm sure the Leonardo's fine, but again, I feel like, if you're the Montreal Canadiens, it's your first visit to Salt Lake City. We have so many better offerings to provide you, so many better tourism offerings. I think what I would recommend, and I know a lot of my friends up there in Canada, probably have connections to folks in the hockey world. So just consider this like a resource, I would say, for future NHL clubs looking to come to town. If you're staying at the Grand America, don't head right on 5th South. Don't go to Washington Square Park. Don't go to the public library. Again, there's no need. What are you going to go read a book? Nobody reads books, What I would do is maybe head towards, go up State Street. There's a lot of good restaurants. Copper Onion's great. Maybe you go to City Creek. I don't know if that's weird for sports. I saw guys who played in the NBA at the Foot Locker. When I worked at Foot Locker in college, I saw NBA guys in the Foot Locker at City Creek all the time. So I maybe head that direction. Again, there's some great restaurants there. I'm quite fond of the Cheesecake Factory myself. I'm sure you guys maybe have a little bit more coin, a little bit more per diem, so you could probably do a little bit better than that. But again, don't again, this is my warning to future NHL teams coming into Salt Lake City. Don't head towards the Salt Lake City Public Library. There's just no need, okay? And now we know that there's sort of a concern there. The city employees are going to come out and be a little, haphazard behind the wheel. We love them. We're doing a great job running our great town. But again, you don't need to head that way. Head on State Street. I think you'd be much better off that way. Head north on State Street. Or you know what? Spend a little, splurge a little. Take an Uber and head to Park City. And I think Park City is lovely this time of year. Sundance is right around the corner. A nice stroll down Main Street in Sundance. You can see the Banksy mural. That could be a lot of fun. So many things you could be doing with your time in Salt Lake City other than heading towards the library. That should be last on your list. So for those of you guys who are native to the Salt Lake City area, know what I'm talking about, I would love to hear where you would like to send, NHL teams who are coming into town for the first time, maybe. So the hotline is open, SLC Puck hotline. The number is 919-666-7825. That spells out Puck. Pretty cool, right? And so give it a call. Leave me a voicemail where you think NHL guys should come and hang out when they're in Salt Lake City for the first time. But let's just chalk up going to the library as a bad decision. But again, we wish Emil Heineman well in his recovery. I hope he comes to enjoy Salt Lake City in years to come and find better things to do than head towards the library. So that's that. That was a kind of an interesting little story there, and I think kind of fun that we made a very lighthearted video out of it. But again, didn't want to make light out of someone getting hit by a car, so that was kind of a tricky one. But I think we did the best we could. But here's who else is doing the best they can is the Utah Hockey Club, right? We're leaving Goofy Town. We're headed back into serious hockey talk now. I know that's what you guys know and love about this show, right? But again, the Utah Hockey Club is really struggling right now. A really impactful injury at the wrong time, and I'm talking about the loss to Dylan Guenther. And it comes at a time when the Utah Hockey Club was already sliding a bit. They're over the last 10 games. I might have mentioned this. They're already 2-7-1 over the last 10. And the story continues to be how the team is not playing very well at home. In home games this season, they're 6-10-4. So you could argue they're 6-14 at home. On the road, they're much better. They're twice as good. They have a winning record actually at home. They're 12-8-4. So I guess that would be about 500 if you don't include if you count the overtime losses as losses, which you shouldn't because they get a valuable point in the standings and those are going to add up in the future. But it's kind of interesting that there's like this story that we keep wanting to tell about this team that I don't think is like very congruent with like the reality of what's happening with the results. Because again, I still feel like every time like they talk to someone like a member of the Utah Hockey Club gets interviewed like nationally or even locally, I feel like a lot of times they want to talk about how great the experience is, how great the atmosphere is here in Utah, here at Delta Center. But I think there might be like an issue where I wonder if we're just talking about it a little bit too much. I think that's something that has been noted in some sports writing here locally, that the Utah Hockey Club, they're a little high-strung, they're a little emotional. Andre Tourney has noticed this as their coach. They really want to impress people here in Utah. They want the fans to like them so much. I think they're really enjoying the atmosphere, the excitement that's here in Utah. But again, I think it's like a little bit too much on their minds. I think it's like a little too present with all the things they're doing. And I'm not a sports psychologist, although I am reading a book by a sports psychologist. I can't remember the guy's name, but the name of the book is Mind Gym. Gym, Mind Gym. Jim. That's I saying Gem. It's Jim. Mind Gym. Yeah, excuse me. I don't say things right. You know that. Mind Gym is a good book. Go read that book. It's by a sports psychologist. So there's some interesting insights there. But again, I think they're like overthinking what they want to do at home. I think they're, again, as Andre Tourney has noted, just like losing a bit of composure. And I think maybe a lot of that has to do with the fans, and a lot of that has to do with the story that we keep wanting to tell about this team. At a certain point, fellas, I think you just got to let it go. Let go and let God, as I like to say. Let go Don't worry so much about the reactions from the fans. Don't worry about the story we keep wanting to tell about these guys. My advice to all the fellas down there at wherever they are, they could be at the Oval when they hear this. They could be in the locker room. They could be in their car. I would say, listen, just relax. Let the story unfold. It's a great story that we're telling here in Utah. It's going to come naturally, and it happens over time. It's not going to be an overnight success. The Utah Jazz were not an overnight success. I mean, there are so many stories about the Jazz when they first arrived in Salt Lake City from New Orleans. They really struggled with their attendance issues. Like, I think to a certain point where like Frank Layden, who was the head coach and general manager of the team, was like calling like season ticket holders or like doing cold calls for tickets, like to get people to come to games. Like, you know, I think there's a story my dad always told where like, I don't even know if this is true or not, but the legend goes that someone called the Jazz offices and Frank Layden answered the phone, and the person on the other end goes, "Hey, what time is the game tonight?" And Frank Layden, knowing that they needed to get fans to the game to keep the thing running, he was like, "Oh, what time can you be here?" And that was the mentality that existed when the Utah Jazz moved to town in 1979. And now here we are. I'm not good at math. Let's take a guess. Let's say 45 years later, 46 years. I think that actually is good math. I think I nailed that. Good for me. Right on. You know, you're in such a great place, guys. The Utah Hockey Club guys. I'm talking to you guys again. You're already loved. Let the story unfold. Come to you naturally. Play loose. Trust yourselves. Trust your instinct. You guys practice your buns off all the time. You've been given all the tools to succeed you could possibly need. You have the most expensive hockey sticks on the market. You have everything you need. Just relax and go out and be yourself. Don't worry about telling the story. The story will tell itself. That's what I got to say about that. And I wanted to add one more thing though. It's going to be really interesting to watch this unfold. I mentioned I wanted to talk about John Marino's debut. I think the thing that you're going to like about John Marino is that you're not going to notice him very much. And that was something that Mike Folta said on the radio last night. He's like, I didn't call John Marino's name very often in this game, and I'm sort of taking that as a good sign. And I agree with him, because hockey is such a huge sport of positioning, of being in the right place at the right time, and that's a huge part of playing good defense. It's just being in the way. You don't necessarily need to possess the puck. You just need to have your stick on other guys. You need to be winning those physical battles in front of the net. John Marino is going to be one of those guys who you're not going to notice him because he's not making mistakes. And I think that's a really important thing that this team needs, especially on that blue line unit, that defensive unit. They need guys who aren't going to make a lot of boo-boos out there on the ice. And I think that's something that you're going to appreciate about John Marino. If you watch the game really closely, you're going to notice a lot of the subtleties he does. He's got a great stick. He's surprisingly very difficult to get through on your way into the zone. He does a great job of breaking up the play that way. But again, you're not going to notice John Marino making big plays or making big mistakes. He's kind of right there in the middle, and that's a really good place to be in if you're a defenseman. That's why he's in the National Hockey League, is because he plays mistake-free hockey. So that's what I have to say about John Marino. And so I know we're all excited to get to know him a little bit better, see him on the ice. He might score a goal here and there, and that could be a fun, exciting moment. But the next stretch for the Utah Hockey Club is going to be very interesting, because they're still somewhat in the playoff race. They're not too far out of the wild card spot quite yet. And so it sort of will become decision-making time in just a little bit, right? Are they going to be buyers and sellers at the trade deadline, which is March 7th, by the way? Are they going to really make a push, try to bring in some guys who could put this team over the top, get them into the playoffs here in year one? Or are they going to be just so far out of it, they're going to just try to liquidate some assets, get some things back to bolster the roster up for the future? I don't know. I don't think anybody knows right now. It's still kind of in the air. I think we'll find out. I was talking to somebody about this the other night, and they're like, yeah, I think we're going to know in the next 30 days. And I think as the Four Nations face-off gets a lot closer to happening in February 12th, I think it kicks off. I think as that date gets closer, I think things will be a lot more crystallized So just looking at the standings right now, the Utah Hockey Club is 3 spots out of the wild card spot. If they're still in it, I think there's a really good chance they could be buyers. And I think you'll see like different scenarios for buying or selling, right? So if they're buyers, I think what you'll see them do is like ship out some draft picks, ship out some prospects, try to bring in a forward, try to bring in like a top 6 forward, probably a centerman, I would imagine. I've mentioned a guy like Taylor Hall. He has some history with Bill Armstrong with and he's with the Blackhawks right now, but they have history together in Arizona. So that could be kind of an interesting one. I think he might be like just a rental for whoever, but he's been mentioned in a lot of trade discussions, so it doesn't feel like he's going to finish the year with the Chicago Blackhawks. But if they're sellers, if the Utah Hockey Club decides at a certain point, we're out of the playoff race this year, it's not going to happen in year one. We need to get ready for the future, get ready for next year or the years to come. I think you're going to see them start to ship some guys out. And when I look at first to try to figure out who that could be are guys who are on expiring contracts. And I'm talking about guys like Oli Mata, Alex Kerfoot, Michael Carconi, Nick Bugstad, Ian Cole. And then there's one other name on this list that I think is pretty interesting. And I'm going to put myself out there on a limb. This could be very upsetting to a lot of people who have come to love this man and what he does for this team, the moments he's provided, the games he's kept us in. But like, just truthfully, honestly, seriously, no joke, literally, I'm not even kidding. No other way to say it. The guy who is on an expiring contract right now, who has the most trade value, is Karel Vejmelka. And so I think it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with him if they feel like they're out of the race this year. I think he becomes someone that a lot of teams who need to get serious about winning a Stanley Cup this year, who are in a better position to do so around the time of the trade deadline, I think a lot of teams would pay a premium for Karel Vejmelka. And so I think as soon as we've gotten to know him, as much as we love chanting veggie in the arena, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it should happen. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm not being provided any information on this. I am just guesstimating. If I was running the team on NHL 25, the video game, this is something that I would consider very strongly. I think there's a chance that Karel Vejmelka might get traded if the Utah Hockey Club is out of the race. But hopefully they won't be, and we won't have to make that hard decision. But it's going to be really interesting. There was a really great podcast that came out today. I'm not talking about this one. I'm talking about Talking Frankly or Speaking Frankly. It's Frank Saravelli, who's with Daily Faceoff. He had GMBA, the Man Crush, Bill Armstrong on. It's kind of interesting. I think they recorded this episode maybe before the Dylan Guenther injury, because that was not brought up in their discussion between those two. But it was a really interesting look at Bill Armstrong's mindset. You know, he talks about how, we haven't really seen the full team on the ice this season, which is interesting and true. But he noted that like trading is definitely something he's very interested in. And in his research, it seems like he's like a big research guy. He knows that like 50% of teams that win Stanley Cups, like a large part of that roster is traded for. So I think that's something he definitely is willing to do. And depending on where the team is in the next month or so, I think you'll start to see them pull the trigger on a few deals. So that'll be something to watch here on SLC Puck, and something for you guys to watch on SEG Plus, Utah Hockey Plus, Utah HC Plus, Nashcast. It's going to be a ton of fun. Let me just play the promo for you guys really quick. Again, if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your freaking podcast, you're going to miss the benefit of the visual, which is fine. But this is the promo video from the Utah Hockey Club promoting Nashcast this week. You can see it. We've had one episode. It was a lot of fun, and I'm really excited for episodes 2 and 3 this week. I think they're going to be even better. I'm feeling really good about it. So without further ado, here's a quick promo for Nashcast.
Tonight for you guys.
They'll let anybody on this show.
So true.
Ray Whitney, are you with us, buddy?
I'm here, Nasher. I'm here. Nice to see you guys.
The boys love the new barn.
Still, baby, Kerfoot.
Let's
on
go.
the board.
Kelly Chase in
That's
the
my big
house.
call right there.
Hockey Fights Cancer Night.
Oh my God, Salt Lake City is the best place in the world to play hockey.
We got a hockey game.
Oh yeah, we do.
Well, there you go. Yeah, and we had Chris Grenier of the Bomb Hole podcast on with us as well. So again, episode 1 in the books, a lot of fun, a big learning experience for me. I think episodes 2 and 3 of Nashcast this week are going to be a lot of fun. So we're excited to bring that to you. Don't forget to check that out on SEG Plus, Utah HC Plus. Yeah, got to sign up to see it, and it's worth it. It's totally worth it. We're gonna put together a heck of a program for you guys, as we do here at SLC Puck twice a week. So we'll be back with you guys on Sunday. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. SLCpuck.shop. We've got merch on there. It's a lot of fun. A cute girl actually bought merch for me this last week. That was like pretty cool and shocking. So what does that say about the merch, fellas? Get yourself some merch at SLCpuck.shop. Check me out on social media at SLC Puck, and we'll talk soon. We'll see you on Nashcast.